All right, what is going on today, chat? Howdy, 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 howdy. Paul, Pokemon lover, how's it going? AKA Poke himself. What is up, guys? We're doing a kind of a makeup session today for episode 38. For those of you who were in the Discord, I just finished a card show yesterday, and boy howdy, did I get some crazy cards. You probably even see if you're over on YouTube. I haven't even unpacked like my case. I haven't unpacked like any of my binder stuff. Joran, what's going on? So I am currently making up for episode 38 for missing on Wednesday. So yeah, the show was absolutely like exceeded my expectations. I got a bunch of stuff just to kind of show off just some of the basic stuff. I'll even go to just chatting real quick. So what's going on, guys? So here's like all the stuff from my show, all the binder stuff, but I'm not even kidding, I literally have a pile of stuff that I haven't even like inventoried yet. So we got like, I literally can't even, we got some like full art stuff, we got like literally like vintage, let's see, got a bunch of like evolutions, I think I like a shining Steelix in there somewhere. Got a bunch of like, it was crazy. Stockpiled on some Mimikyu Vs. We got some really cool like Mega Rayquaza, Delta Species Blastoise, a deck Rayquaza, like just stuff all over the place. So finally starting to process that, but anyway, that's for another time. Again, for today's stream, we are going to be kind of kicking right into grade review episode 38, which should have been on Monday, or on Wednesday rather. Oh, was that Flashfire Rayquaza? Probably. I'm honestly not even too sure. I knew, like, my brain was absolutely fried when I bought all that stuff. I still haven't even begun to look at it yet. But yeah, hopefully when I'm actually like caught up either tomorrow, I'll probably even do a stream tomorrow to kind of go through it. Yeah, dude, it was like, I got like a shining Steelix. I got if you saw in the Discord, I got a PSA 10 Skyridge booster pack that I thought was interesting, like a bunch of stuff. But I'll probably be processing all of that tomorrow, just to kind of go through and see what's good, what's not good. For grading wise, so we'll probably do a nice lover. Yeah, definitely take a picture. All right, guys, so we're just gonna get right into it because it is pretty late for me, so I want to make sure that we kind of keep things moving along. So this is grade review episode 38. So normally we do these on Wednesdays, but we are catching up. So for those of you who are wondering, what is grade review? Well, grade review is every Wednesday traditionally. I review cards on our Discord for free to give my assessment of what I think they could get as a PSA grade. In addition, chat also gets to vote on what they think your cards would get for free. So this is what the review looks like. So first, we are going to start off with Joe. So first off, which this card, the Charizard EX, has been skyrocketing in price. I believe there's a little bit of more of like speculation or like not mislabeling, but mislisting. And I think there was a little bit of FOMO boost, but who knows? Ryan, how's it going? I have a base Mewtwo and base. Yeah, send him in, lover, for sure. So this card is definitely skyrocketed price. I think yesterday when I was at my show, I think I had market at around 200, 205. So it's pretty crazy how much this has been going up. But, ooh, Poke, thanks so much for the spooky ghosts. So we're going to get right into it. So again, for those of you who don't know, there are 4 main grading criteria, which is centering, corners, edges, and surface. So for modern, my big rule of thumb on this channel is it's either going to be a 10 or bust, meaning that if you don't think it's going to get a 10, more often than not, it's just simply not worth sending in. Yeah, I hear you, Joran. It's crazy how much this card is skyrocketed. But I think when I was at the show, more people talked about the crazy spike more so than being interested in the card. So I think it's kind of based on what customer feedback was. I don't think a lot of people are going to probably buy it at that price. Like more so in person. But anyway, so this Charizard EX, so it's centered beautifully, and I don't see any major issues on the corners. Betty, what's going on? Salutes to you. I was able to get your Morpeko, like I messaged before. So your radar has been completed. Mission successful. I sold my Charizard yesterday for 170. Did I do good? I think so, Rorsch. Like if you're, because this card's kind of going. I had mine listed at market price was like 200, 205. But I don't think a lot of people are going to really, there's not going to be like a lot of movement, I don't think, because I think a lot of people are dumping them like really quick. But I mean, 170 doesn't seem too bad, to be honest. Yeah, centering looks good. Corners look great. So on this one, so as we can kind of look, and I'll actually have the pen tool that I use. So if you guys are new, I have a little pen tool here that I can kind of jot down some stuff. And if I can get rid of that, I don't want to save it. I want to click the trash can button and delete it. There we go. So this left side here. So when I talk about centering, this left side is a little bit thicker than that right side. So it's a little off center. Additionally, I am seeing these little, and hopefully you guys can see this. If not, I'm going to try to zoom out just a tad. There we go. I'm still trying to figure out what price I should sell my Pikachu SIR. Oh yeah, because you posted in the Discord, right? Yeah, I bet, like I said, I just got back from a show, so I'm like really trying to play catch up. So I apologize, I haven't gotten back to you yet. Hopefully, Betty, that'd be sick if we hit 10K today, but I don't know. So yeah, so what I'm seeing, guys, is if you guys get modern cards packed fresh, this is one of probably the biggest issues on why your stuff will not get a 10, even though if it's packed fresh. I know, I'm sorry, I'm not the one that made the cards. But if you see that little white dot in the bottom left-hand corner, that little white speck is going to most likely prevent this card from getting a PSA 10. So there and here. And possibly here, maybe. But those 3 little white dots are what's going to prevent this card from getting a 10, in my opinion. So, you know, it sucks. I know, trust me, I wish I could fix it for you guys, but unfortunately that is the way it is. So I don't think this card would get a 10, probably a 9, despite this being slightly off center. Maybe an 8 if someone's feeling kind of grumpy that day. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool, but I don't know. I just like being able to just kind of talk with you guys too. I would never want to do this professionally. Man, you guys would roast me if I did this professionally. So yeah, I don't think that would get the 10. Let's see. Can we submit cards for you for cleaning? Yes, BZ, you can. Currently, it is in early access for Discord members only, but it will go public on November 1st. So either join the Discord to get to learn more on how to join the early access, or wait till November 1st, my friend. My Charizard came back right out of the pack with lots of whitening. Yeah, it's awful, man. It sucks. You're late. How dare you, Civic? Found my Pokemon cards today for when I was a kid. That's awesome, Lick. Congrats. Can we send cards from Asia? Probably not, because I think just how customs work is just a lot for me, to be honest. But who knows? I'm going to start with the States first, and then if it, depending on how successful it is, I might expand. because a lot of people say, you know, they really want the service, but it's really, I've had early access in the Discord just to be transparent, and no one's taking advantage of it. So it is what it is. Brittany, thanks so much for following. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Saturday or a Sunday. I don't even know who's playing football today for the States, because I am a Dolphins fan and I'm sure they're getting absolutely destroyed. I haven't watched football in a minute though, because I also don't have cable. RIP for me for being a Dolphins fan, but it is what it is. All right, Dark Blastoise. Next up, Dark Blastoise. Let's take a look. So right off the bat, we can kind of see this folded corner. So this card, you know, right off the rip, you know, there's scratches all over it. So it's going to be pretty beat. J4, this is what I call grade review. So you submit your cards for free in our Discord, and I will review them to give my assessment of what I think it would get as a PSA grade. In addition, it seems like we have enough people in here to where chat will also vote on what they think this card would get as a PSA grade. So we're going to do a Dark Blastoise real quick. So that corner is a little bit rough. So we're going to kind of mark that a little bit here just to kind of keep eyes on it. But it's well centered, which is great. The other thing I notice here, like where I'm kind of circling to the left of the D in Dark Blastoise, that little speck can probably be cleaned. For those of you who have seen my content before, I do cleaning for certain cards that removes things that are added onto the card. I never add anything to the card, like I don't use wax or anything like that. So something like that could be easily removed, which will improve the surface grade. Additionally, this little gunk on the arm here, I don't know what those are, but those can probably be cleaned as well. You definitely do better in PSA. Well, I appreciate that, Bald. That's a very good compliment. But I definitely try my best. Corners look good on the bottom, edges look great, and then like we're seeing right now, right, like all of the hollow scratching is going to make a pretty significant impact on the surface, right? So we got to keep that in mind. So all in all, the front is what it is. So we're gonna flip it over on the back, and the back looks horrendous. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna water it down. The back is pretty rough. So the main thing we obviously see is looks like a small infant that was teething on the side of this card. So that's interesting. We got a little bit of a move here. So the toddler's Tommy Pickles' first teething ring there. But let's keep looking. So the edges, edges are pretty rough. The sides are pretty rough. Corners are pretty rough. It's pretty much all on the other side. It's interesting because right, calibrated. Yeah, just use a nice fat Sharpie and just fill those in. It's like a coloring book, right? For those of you who are wondering if that's true, do not use a marker on your cards. It is considered alterations. Calibrated and myself are joking at this point, so don't do that. But the surface, within the border, is pretty good. It's not too bad. It's really just the edges. But man, this side is pretty rough, and I'm honestly surprised that it looks so bad. I'm surprised it didn't even carry over on this. But anyway, so now it seems like we have enough people over on the TikTok side, and this goes for anyone watching me over on YouTube as well. So this portion, we're going to let chat vote and decide on what you guys think this Dark Blastoise would get. So as you probably have seen below, if you type in ! grade followed by the number you think this Dark Blastoise would get, it will get added to a vote, and the winning vote will be the chat grade. So again, ! grade followed by the number if you want your vote to count. Again, ! grade followed by the number, and at the end it will tally up, and the winning vote will be the chat grade. So while you guys are voting, I'm going to catch up with chat because there is a lot of you in here. Thank you guys for the likes and follows. I really appreciate it over on TikTok land. You guys are the best. I appreciate you very much. So we got a wide range here. Penna, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, thank you so much for following. I appreciate that. We see an angle with more light on the back. I feel like you would see some scratches for sure, Joran, for sure. And thank you, Penna, for sharing the live. I appreciate you guys very much. All right, let's see. The votes are coming in. Again, if you guys are new here, this is a grade review where members of our Discord submit pictures for free for me to to review your cards and assess their potential PSA condition. If you guys are wondering, instead of submitting your cards, if you just want to kind of a general idea, this is the perfect service for you. Normally I do these on Wednesdays, but I just got done with a card show yesterday. I was exhausted and I was not able to prep in time, so I had to postpone the Wednesday stream to today for Sunday. So, do you think PSA intentionally grades older cards lower to keep their pop low and 10 prices up? There's definitely that speculation out there. I'm hesitant to say that pop control is or is not real because I am never physically in possession of the cards that people say is being quote unquote pop controlled. So I understand people's frustrations for sure. But I always really can't answer, right? Because I don't know, how thorough they were or if their expectations were too high or whatever. So it's kind of tough for me to say, to be honest. Because I've seen a few people have some videos on TikTok to be like, man, like I'm gonna crack this and resend it, and I look in the back, it's like there's some whitening in the corners, even though it was packed fresh. So, but anyway, so now I'm going to end the poll so you guys aren't just listening to me yap along. So the winning chat grade, drum roll please. We're going to see what it is, and it is a PSA 4. So, as the chat hive mind collective, you guys are thinking a PSA 4. So chat 4, which is honestly not too far off, I don't think. So now it is my turn. So what do I think this dark Blastoise would get? So like I said, that top left hand corner is peeling up pretty good, so that's going to have a pretty significant impact. Scratches all over the hollow. We got some dirt marks near the left of the D, as well as that arm, which probably could be cleaned with some distilled water and a Q-tip like I normally do, but that is besides the point. So let's flip it over, and this is where it really has some issues. So there's some significant folding and some significant dents here. It looks like the Grand Canyon, to be honest. But all the corners are in pretty rough shape. But the surface overall on the back doesn't look too bad, as well as the text area doesn't look too bad either. However, I think due to the severity, if this is an actual dent, it's pretty large and pretty noticeable. But the fact that it doesn't come on the front, but I think as I kind of observe, there is a little bit of darkness here that's kind of bleeding over to the front, but it might be just me trying to look for something. But regardless, this here is pretty significant. So I think because of that, I would probably be more comfortable by giving this a 3 instead of a 4. But chat, not too far off. I think that is a pretty good and fair range from everyone. So chat was thinking a 4 and I was thinking a 3. So thank you guys for voting on that one. Let's see. Definitely a good binder card for sure. Did you hear they can go to GameStop to send out grading? Yes, Cam, I have. And while I queue up the next one from Ugly Caterpillar, I can talk about it. So I think my very short version is I think they are throwing a lot of new services out to the public because the company itself is not doing too hot, especially after some of their Q4 announcements and how they're doing financially. So I think they're throwing a lot out there just to see if stuff sticks. Additionally, I think like hot button topics or like these types of services keeps people talking about GameStop. I haven't heard people talk about GameStop this much since they've announced that they were able to buy PSA slabs. So I think them still trying to stay in relevancy is a big marketing strategy for them. So it really will bear the question. Now, however, the one thing I do like about it is that they do not have a card minimum. But at the same time, those employees are notoriously, it's well known that their training is very quick, very rushed. So it bears the question, do you want those types of people to handle your cards? Right? So that is the move. So let me, before I go through Caterpillar, I just want to make sure I caught up with everyone. Tic Tac, thanks so much for the follow. Gryo, hello, welcome back, welcome back. Sense it enough and eventually get a 10, right? I've had the strangest grade from PSA. They gave me Mewtwo GT or GX a 5, but it looked clean. Normally, if that happens, in certain cases, Camp, sometimes there might be something wrong with the surface, like if there's like a wave in it or something like that. Jones, thank you for the follow. Black Dragon, thanks for the follow. I still have a few cards I want to send out. Awesome, Joseph. I put my cards in your Discord. Awesome. Yeah, just make sure to put them. So for anyone who wants to have your cards reviewed for free, if you go into my description and go to my link tree, it will look like this. All you have to do is click or tap the Discord icon. It will send you right to the Discord. It'll go through the onboarding process and it'll guide you exactly where you need to go. You just need to go to the grade review. Yeah, like a wave, meaning like almost like the equivalent of if it, not like a bow, like if it was stuck in humidity, but like if it got like wet or something. I'm not saying your card got wet specifically, but almost like a little wave, a little dip in your card. So sometimes if it's like that harsh of a decrease in a grade, normally that's the reason. Rash, thanks so much for the follow. How much is card cleaning? So currently it's in early access for Discord members. So it's 75% off. I'll let you guys join that and follow the links. So TikTok doesn't say naughty for saying prices out loud. But it will become available to the public on November 1st. So again, thank you guys so much for hanging around today. It looks like we just broke 2K likes, so I appreciate that over on TikTok. Do you do grade review on Yu-Gi-Oh cards? I don't mind it. I normally stick with Pokemon because that's normally the content that sticks the most. But I did review a Nami not too long ago, and so far it seemed like people liked it. So why not? If you want to submit, if people like it, cool, I'll do them. If not, then I'll just stop it. So yeah. All right, so B-Drill V from the Ugly Caterpillar. So like I said, chat, normally for Modern, it's PSA 10 or bust. So far, the front of this B-Drill looks pretty clean. The centering looks great. Corners look good. And as we look onto the side, we got to kind of zoom out here a little bit, but we'll do our best for chat. It does look a little bit thicker on the bottom than it does on the top, but I think on paper per PSA, you should be good within the range of it being considered or moved towards a 10 as long as there's nothing else wrong with the surface on the front. With cards like this, the texturing is pretty hard to determine if there is any major issues with the front, but for me, I don't see any. So I think with this card in particular, the other thing I'm trying to look for and I don't see are any whitened corners, which is good. So I think you should potentially have a chance at a 10, but if it got a 9 because of the bottom centering, I wouldn't be surprised. But obviously when I say anything about centering, I'm literally looking at it through a monitor. Always use a ruler to measure the centering on your own. So this potentially could get the 10 if their standards are still the same, but definitely double check with a ruler on your own. Yes, Jordan. So if you need instructions on how to properly submit your pictures in the grade review, just click the pinned messages in the Discord. I have example pictures because if you have pictures in a penny sleeve or a top loader, unfortunately, I'll have to ask you to retake them because it isn't a first come first serve, and you'll get knocked out of the queue. You'll get knocked out of your position. Jordan, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that. All right, so the Zard from Trainer Gallery. Centering on this looks pretty good. Again, sometimes they get the pictures get taken sideways, but for the most part, we don't really need to see the full thing on the front. However, I think it might either be the angle or the light here on the top, like on the top here. But let me just move this over slightly. So the one thing I am seeing potentially, I'll even take the little magnifier here, is there is a little bit of whitening there on that top. Well, for us oriented, it's going to be the top left, but that's really the top right. But Additionally, I am seeing maybe a little bit of whitening here, but again, I don't know if it's the lighting or the picture or whatever. But it also looks a little bit thicker on the top and compared to the bottom, or the right compared to the left. So again, kind of the same thing. I would definitely measure this out in person just to make sure it's within that 50-50 ratio or 55-45 ratio. For those of you who are new here, I personally think that Pokemon cards specifically, they say 60-40 on the front at least, but I've seen it more of like 55-45. So, all right, so the Origin Form Palkia, very well centered. Very well centered. This was a pretty hot card at the show yesterday that I went to, so this is actually a pretty good card. The centering looks really good on that. And this one does not have any of the issues that I saw on the Zard. And I already forgot the other card that I looked at. So yeah, that's how my brain works, chat. Let's see. So yeah, no big issues on the corners. Looks great. Maybe a little bit something there though, like right where the tip. I'll kind of leave my mouse right at the, I'm trying to even put it on there. So right where the tip of my mouse is, there's potentially a little bit of white dot there. Churro, thanks so much for sharing the live. Appreciate you. So if that is, so if you can wipe that off, like if it's a little bit of fuzz or something like that, Aldo, thanks so much for liking the live. Then if you wipe that off, no problem. But if you can't, then that would be considered whitening, and you probably wouldn't get the 10 because of it. Let's see. It was my shiny Palmy in this live. I should have added everyone that was in the queue today, Gryos, if you want to look at the Discord. And Aldo, I'll let you know once I'm done with Caterpillars, which this should be their last one. Yes, I will go over it in just a second, so hang tight, my friend. So let's see. So the Gengar looks really well centered. Maybe, and I literally have to like turn my head to see it, but I think this bottom part is a little bit thicker than the top part, or the right. If you're to orient it regularly, the right is a little bit thicker than the left, but I think it's within the range. So now there we go. Now we're back to being in normal position here. Let me just get that squared away there. Perfect. So there is something here. There's a little bit of gunk or something right there. It's either gunk or an ink dot, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, that might be something you can't remove. Therefore, you might have an issue with this surface. But aside from that, the thickness on the left is a little bit thicker than the right. But I don't see any whitening. So you have a lot of like potential 10s, but they're pretty much on the border of 9 to 10, depending on who you get, to be honest. I think this will probably hold you back a little bit, because it is pretty noticeable. Heather, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that very much. So yeah, I would say the previous one is probably your best shot at a 10. But this one is But I would say whitening on the right. If you're talking about this, no idea, that might be just the camera light, or like the lighting from that direction. That's what it looks like to me, if this is what you're talking about specifically. But yeah, so Aldo and anyone else, if you guys are wondering how to submit your cards for free, normally I do these streams every Wednesday starting at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. But all you have to do is tap my link in the bio in the channel. We'll send you to my link tree, and all you have to do is click or tap the Discord icon, and it will send you to the Discord, and you'll go through a whole onboarding process. It's all automated. It's super sweet. In one channel that you're going to submit all your pictures to, and you can submit as many as you want for absolutely for free, but it is first come first serve. You'll get sent to the grade review channel, and as long as you follow the instructions on how to submit your pictures by looking at the pin messages, you know, you can't take pictures of your cards in top loaders or sleeves. I'll review them for free, in addition to chat weighing in if it is cards that are mostly not modern, because modern is pretty much, again, 10 or bust, and that's pretty quick. But if you want your cards reviewed faster, the Discord server does offer subscriptions. The cheapest option is $4.99 a month, which will give you expedited grading. So you'll kind of jump the queue. I'll first start with subscribers and then non-subscribers. So if that interests you, if you want your cards graded faster because you're going to submit them to PSA, or you want a second opinion like as soon as possible, that option's for you there. But yeah. So again, thank you guys so much for sticking around with me today. Thanks very much for anyone that's liked or followed or shared the live that I missed. I definitely appreciate it. And I'm going to get the next person queued here. So it looks like Joran is up next. And I think Joran actually had some pretty cool cards here. Some more like XY stuff. Yes. Actually, I think I already had yours preloaded. I just forgot to tap. There we go. Boom. Awesome. And if you guys have any issues or questions, if you at the moderator team, anyone would be able to assist there as well. All right. So next up, we have Joran with some cool XY era cards. I think my personal favorite of the EX, Aldo, thank you so much for the rose. I appreciate that very much. And again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today on a Sunday and showing all the love and support with the shares and follows, both on YouTube and TikTok, wherever you are watching me from today. I appreciate it very much. So let's get right into it. So the Lucario EX. So far, this card looks extremely clean. Centering looks great. Maybe a little bit of some little fuzzies that you can probably wipe off with a microfiber cloth. And Joran, thanks so much for the roses. Thank you guys so much. A little bit of fuzz on the knee there as well. So the front, before I just kind of like jumped right into it. So based on the texturing and what I can see from the front, it's just these little white specks of fuzz. I would imagine it's fuzz that can probably be removed. So like that one on the knee, and then that one on the other thigh, but really not anything to be like concerned about. So we will just go over to the back. So the back, again, this is where some of those issues, it's always on the back, guys. It's always on the back that kind of drags some of these cards back. In terms of being a potential PSA 10 contender. So we have some issues there on that top left-hand corner, as well as some very mild whitening on that bottom left. And we got some here and here. And I'm just going to kind of go around and just tap with my pen here and mark them with that lime green or that neon green, just so I can better articulate what I'm seeing here. So yeah, that one top right edge. So a lot of like little white specks, but not incredibly bad. But obviously, you know, we have to consider them. So let me just save that real quick. All right, chat. So there should be enough of you both on YouTube and TikTok. So we're going to let chat vote on what you guys think this Lucario EX would get as a PSA grade. So again, if you want to weigh in on what you think this will get, type an exclamation point grade followed by the number you think this would get. So again, exclamation point grade followed by the number on what you think this Lucario EX would get as a PSA grade. Whether you're on YouTube or TikTok, the winning vote will be the chat grade. So while you guys are voting, I'm going to catch up with chat. Did the Pokemon card size change? I started in 1999 and went back in 2024. So they haven't changed in terms of the traditional card. It just looks bigger on screen, if that's what you're trying to allude to, because I'm just zooming in. But I just don't know. But yeah, so they did make jumbo cards, but that's not the norm. That's more of like promotional items, if that makes sense. Aldo, thank you so much for the roses again. Appreciate it very much. Spoiling me with the roses. Craziest part is Kid Me didn't sleeve half his cards. I mean, I didn't even know what sleeves were, dude. I only thought that you could just put cards in a not a top loader, like a like the 9-slot binder for like baseball cards. That's what I thought. And I did the same thing with like the 3-ring binder. That's what I had my cards in. When was the first jumbo card? That's actually a good question, Pokemon lover. I really don't know. I'd have to look it up. That's actually a really interesting question. You just sent mine in? Awesome, Aldo. I'm super excited to take a look. I mean, the Pokemon cards look smaller than they did back in 1999. Smaller? I mean, I think, well, just for perspective, like I have a lot of like vintage, like Wizards of the Coast cards. I mean, the only cards that I can think of that were actually smaller, that were Pokemon adjacent, were like the Top Sun Japanese cards. They were a little bit smaller, but that was before 1999. I think those were like 1996 or 1995, I believe. But they've always been the same size, in my opinion, because I've like all the sleeves that I've had, like I've put base set compared to modern, and they've all used the same sleeves and the same fitting. So mine sat loose in a deck box. Yeah, sometimes it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Again, while I wrap up, vote if you guys want to vote on what you think this Lucario would get. Again, that's the front, that's the back. Just type in !grade. Anything you see in green are the little issues that I found. The little dots represent kind of like little white dots or lightning. But what's my favorite Pokemon? My basic answer is Jolteon. But if I can't pick an evolution, it's Victory Bell. All right, so let me close poll real quick. So let's see. So we had a right at the last second, Alexa coming in clutch, throwing that final curveball in. The chat grade is a 7. So chat, and that is an awful 7. There we go. All right. So let me just save that real quick. Then I'm gonna move that over here. Whoa, let's do that again. There we go. So do this. There we go. Okay. So save that. All right. So what do I think this Lucario EX would get? So the front looks great. Centering looks great. Corners look good. Again, the only thing that we can improve upon, and it looks like we can easily, are these little white specks, which can be just simply removed like a microfiber cloth or something like that, just on those knees. But not too bad at all. So when we flip it over, in some of my notes from before, we have some whitening in the corners, but very mild whitening on the edges. But in this case, it really boils down to, you know, is it light play? Which for context, I think light play equates to PSA 6, and I don't think that's the case here, which is good. So it kind of boils down to, do I think it's a PSA 7, which is near mint, or PSA 8, which is a little bit better than near mint? And I think with the amount of whitening on the back specifically, in addition to some stuff on the front, if we can't get rid of it, you know, emphasis on can't get rid of it, I would probably agree with you guys that I think that this would be a extremely strong 7. So chat, and let me try to do that one more time. So put that over here. Perfect. So chat is PSA 7, and myself is also a PSA 7. So good job. Good job, chat. Just pulled the Bulbasaur Chase card, the Stellar Crown earlier. It looks sick. That's awesome, Overlord. Congratulations. I like the fact that you guys have better luck than me. I love it. I love it for you. I'm not jealous or anything, but Overlord, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. I think I always send different angles with the overexposed light for surface scratches if there are any. Yeah, I was looking at some of them before. And I do have some of yours that have all 4. Like I think you had a Flareon. Yeah. So this one I included all of them. But some I didn't, because I just I briefly looked. I was like, it should be good. What's my favorite legendary? I think my favorite legendary would probably be Zapdos. I remember Zapdos, for context, I think Zapdos from base set was the one card I had in my pocket all the time. I brought it to the playground. I showed it off. I flexed with my friends. Like, haha, you don't have a Zapdos. I do. So that's mine. Just pulled the shiny Mew EX SAR. That's awesome, Stuart. Congratulations. Congratulations, guys. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on this Sunday. It really does mean a lot. And we just hit, well, I don't know if we just hit, but I just noticed. We hit 4K likes over on TikTok. Appreciate you guys. All right, so next up is the Mega Venusaur. So let us take a look. So far, looking good. So it's kind of hard to tell, but we're going to do our best here. And I'm actually going to expand this just a tad and then move this over if I can. Let's try it one more time without my computer freaking out. There we go. There we go. Have a lot more room to work with now. All right, so the centering is really going to be this part here and this part here in terms of being able to see. So that's where I'm kind of looking right now. So here and here. So that looks 50-50 to me, as well as the bot. This top part might be a little bit thicker than, should be like right there, than the bottom. And I know you can't see that bottom one, but that looks a little bit, the top looks a little bit thicker, but it might be within that 55-45 range. But yeah, the bottom definitely looks thinner for sure. But aside from that, and based on what I was seeing in your other picture, the front looked really good. So really no issues with the surface on that one. However, it's always on the back. So here are some things that I noticed right away. So in this top left corner, we do have a little bit of a fold here, kind of curling up. So we can kind of see right there. So we do have a little bit of a curl there, folding up. And then the other things I'm going to mark is a little bit of whitening. So we got boom, boom, that bottom left corner, a little bit of whitening, that bottom right corner there as well. Boom, boom, there. And then a little bit on that top right corner. So that's what that looks like from a whitening slash damage perspective. How much does a fold affect the grade? Well, I have my opinion, but now user 614-377-639-7186, we're going to go over what chat thinks this card would get. So if you guys want to vote on what you think this Mega Venusaur would get, or how much you think that crease would impact, now is your chance to vote. So all you have to do is type in !grade followed by the number to vote on what you think this Mega Venusaur EX would get. Again, it is !grade followed by the number on what you think this would get. Again, as a recap, if you guys are just tuning in, anything marked in green is any damage that I have seen. This one in the top left is a bit of a fold in that corner, a noticeable fold, and then everything else on the edge is more of whitening. So again, !grade followed by the number. If you're watching me on YouTube or TikTok, the winning vote will be the chat grade. I missed the XY era. Yeah, XY era was fun. I personally started with Gen 1. Shoutouts to the Gen 1 starters in chat. Jordan, thanks so much for the tickets. Aldo, thanks so much for the, was that the cotton candy heart? I appreciate you guys very much. Yada, yada, yada. My appreciation. Can you grade energy cards? Yeah, as long as it's not bulk. So that's really the big rule in that channel. So like, I don't want to bore, just for content purposes, watching me review commons or uncommons or energy cards that are just like bulk, I'm not going to really review those. But if it's like, the energy cards from Heart Gold Soul Silver, for example, the ones that has like the Pokemon in the background, that I would review. But if it's like a basic energy from like, from Temporal Forces, I'm not going to review that. So just kind of keep that in mind. So if it's bulk or like a reverse rare from like modern sets, I'm probably not going to review it. Airfare Gaming, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that very much. Oh, you started an XY poke? Or Pokemon Lover, I already call another person poke. All right, so let's see what you guys think. I'm just gonna close the poll here. We got a Judd. I don't know what. Can you remind me what your name was? I'm a store owner. This is my store account. That's awesome, Airfare. That's definitely the end goal for me, for sure. I definitely give a lot of credit for anyone willing to open up a physical brick and mortar in today's society. Is definitely a courageous endeavor for sure. So that's awesome. If I added you, it should be in the order. So I looked at, because I added everyone that I was reviewing today. So let me just close this vote real quick. So that was a PSA 6. So chat, you guys are thinking A6 for the Venusaur. So let me scoot that over and do zoop. Cool. All right, so what do I think this Mega Venusaur EX would get? Centering is great with the exception of the top. The top is a little bit thicker than the bottom. But aside from that, the surface looks extremely clean. So when we flip it over, and from my notes from before, we do have a little bit of a fold there on the top left and a little bit off center even on this left to right. But aside from that, very mild whitening on the corners and edges. So not too bad. The surface looks really good on the back, but it's really just this fold and that top left that's really going to start kind of dragging this card back. So I think since that's really the curl or the bend that's really kind of taking this card back, I also agree with you guys that I think it would most likely get the 6, because I think if you probably even use some the book method of kind of flattening it out, you might even be able to get rid of that, but can't confirm. So chat is PSA 6, and I am also PSA 6 with the Poliwhirl grade. There's my Poliwhirl, guys. All right, so next up, the Flareon EX. Let me just catch up here. Let's see. Let's see, Judd. Because I think what happened is normally if you are a subscriber, you have your own channel to post in to kind of help me kind of keep things separated. So let me see yours. Because yours was the Rayquaza, right? Because you posted it in the general chat. That's why I didn't see it for today. But I can certainly add it for sure. Just let me know. Because you have the... I probably didn't explain it to you well enough because I have the general grading channel. So since you submitted it... Yeah, so since you submitted it in the regular grade, I just got lost. So that's the only reason why I didn't see it. But I can do it next after Joran's. Aldo, thanks so much for follow. The fold will still be noticeable afterwards. Gotcha. Well, not as bad, I don't think. Depending on how bad it is. Yeah, if you don't mind, Judd, while I'm finishing up Joran's, if you just want to do that real quick, it'll just make it easier for me. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I agree, Jory. I agree. This card's awesome. All right, so the Flareon EX. So let us take a look. Centering is great. I think we had the other picture. Yep. Hunter, thanks so much for the subscription over on YouTube. Appreciate you. So the only thing I see here on this angle is this little like dirt mark there by the belly or the chest there of the Flareon. But not bad overall. I'm trying to look for... I don't really see any major scratches or anything like that, so that's pretty good. The back looks great. The only thing I really see, just based off of, again, the lighting, if you guys are going to take these pictures and submit to Grade Review, this is a really good example of the lighting, to where we see a little bit of a scratch right here. So I'll kind of like highlight that. Additionally, we have whitening there. So, but all in all, like really not that bad. The centering is actually really good on the back. But yeah, I think just to kind of keep things at a good pace with this, because there's really not much to talk about for this Flareon, honestly. I'd probably say if we can just get rid of this here. I did that way too aggressively. Sorry about that. if we just clear this off, which it looks like we can, my guess is that you're probably looking at an 8, would be my guess on the Flareon. So that's good. So a little bit of an 8 action there. So not bad. And hopefully you guys like my illustrations. And I still think it should be an 8. Let's see. How do I submit a card for us to grade? That is a great question, Hyper. So anyone that's wanting to know how to submit your cards for free, for a free submission, all you have to do is tap the link in my bio and it'll send you to my link tree. And next, all you have to do is click or tap the Discord icon and it'll send you through my onboarding. You can join the server and then it'll guide you to the grade review channel to submit your cards. It is first come, first serve. However, if you want expedited like Judd is about to get, because I now see that he posted for his privilege, he's actually going to be next in the lineup. So I appreciate you understanding that, Judd. I'll definitely get you after. But yeah, just post your pictures in there. It's totally free otherwise. And yeah, worth getting Charizard Mega EX graded depending on what the grade would be, Evan, or whatever the review would be. So if you want to submit your card to be reviewed for me to better answer that question, now would be the chance to do so. Because again, it is first come, first serve for non-subscribers, and then priority is given to subscribers. I do this traditionally. I do this every Wednesday, but since I had a show yesterday, I had to prepare for it, so I had to skip Wednesday. Awesome, Ozzy, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate you. But I will be live tomorrow to go through all the cards I picked up during yesterday's show, but not for a grade review. Prawl, thanks so much for the follow, and Mega, thanks so much for the follow. Awesome, Ozzy. All right, Alakazam EX, let's get into it. So I do see a little bit of off-centering here. Not by much, though. I think you should be within that. I think it's 55-45 for Pokemon. You know, on paper for PSA, it says 60-40, but I don't think that's true. So the left, you should be good there. A little bit of whitening here, but I think you could probably just wipe that off. And the other angle, again, there really wasn't much for me to see or talk about there, so the front looks really good. And it's really the only thing that I see here. Again, it's the big word, I think, for tonight is whitening. And so we have some here on that bottom corner here, and then I'll even try to save this so I can kind of zoom in a little bit just in case if you guys can't see. So we do have a little bit of whitening there on the bottom left hand corner, as well as I'll just kind of leave my mouse there on the bottom right. So we have some whitening there, but very close to being flawless for sure. N4 very close, but it's really just that whitening kind of on the edges and the corners. For XY, that's what I'm saying. N4. This card looks great. Aside from the back, like I think from the amount, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this one's a little bit more noticeable. I think you'd probably get an 8 on this one. I think because of how predominant that white one, that white dot on the bottom is, I think you're probably still looking at an 8. But you never know. Someone might have a good day and give you a 9. Because I've seen crazier, so. But I'll get some more XY fire in future reviews. I appreciate it, Jordan. I'm super stoked for it then. I'm super stoked. All right, so now we're going to look at an absolute heater, chat. Rowlet, thanks you so much for the follow. And Judd, I appreciate you being patient with me. Again, I probably should have made it a little bit more apparent that you had your own channel to post in so I could see and put you as expedited, so I apologize for that. But we are here reviewing your card, and you're here for it, which is kind of actually a blessing in disguise. So we are going to look at, and it does appear to be real. We're going to be looking at the Rayquaza Gold Star, which is absolutely insane that you even own this card. I think, me personally, this is probably one of my personal grails of the hobby, is the Rayquaza Gold Star. So we are going to do our best, chat, to review this bad boy. And you guys better been paying attention, because I'm gonna have to rely on you guys to give your vote. So this one's gonna be pretty big. So the Rayquaza Gold Star. So let us take a look. So Let me just make sure that it is zoomed in so you guys can see everything. Beautiful. Do you lock your basement window at night? I lock all of them at night. I even chain them up. I chain my basement. All right. So, centering. At first glance, and I don't have my ruler with me because it's still packed in for my show, but at first glance, it does look okay from the centering perspective. Maybe a little bit off center from the bottom to the top, but I don't think so. But that's just kind of like the first thing I saw, but I don't think that's the case. And so I think we're really going to be benefiting with the magnifying tool here. So we do have what it looks like some dirt on that top edge. So that would probably be something I would probably treat with some distilled water. I think like those little black dots. I'm looking at the edges, by the way, just to make sure if anyone's like wondering where I'm looking. On the yellow border, I think you could probably use, this would be a really good example of what you could probably clean with some distilled water and a Q-tip. So all those little black blemishes on that yellow border. So as we kind of go counterclockwise here, we have some there that can also be cleaned. And I see some on the, like a little white speck on the claw, but again, we can probably address that when we go towards the actual Rayquaza itself. That left corner looks good. The bottom edge looks to be clean. Maybe something there, but that might be the hollow. I'm not too sure. Cameron, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate that. And other than that, the yellow, that's really all I saw in terms of things that potentially could be dirt, which is that top and the left edge. So now, we're going to look at the text. So the text looks pretty good from this angle. You obviously took multiple angles, so we're going to look at that too. And then in terms of the Rayquaza itself, the body, the head looks good. The body, the claw, again, those little white specks can probably be wiped off with a microfiber cloth. And then this is interesting. I'm not too sure if that is abrasion. I don't think so, right? Or I do think so, is what I should be saying. Let me just look up something real quick, because I just want to make sure, because again, I have never held this card in my actual possession before, so I just want to make sure that it is actually some form of damage versus just like, oh, it's just part of the artwork. So let me just verify real quick. Okay, it is not. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. We're just gonna do this and just boom. So that's what the scan looks like. So now we go here. So yeah, so this looks to be some degree of abrasion here on the tail. Nathan, thanks so much for the follow. Submitted mine. Awesome, Tropical. So there's that. And we do have a little bit of a scratch there by the lower jaw, it looks like. So let's take a look at some other angles. And I think, there we go. So yeah, so this is what I was just talking about. So these like little like speckles here, it looks like it's actually removed. Not yet, Rips. Judd is a subscriber. I forgot to tell them to post in their subscriber channel, and they were not kind enough to remind me, so they got priority. So I'm just reviewing theirs real quick. So I see people in my peripheral and chat real quick. I'm just going to keep reviewing this, and I'll catch up with chat here in a second. So I appreciate your patience. If I miss you, I'm not ignoring you. So yeah, we do have some speckling there on the tail. Additionally, we have a little bit of a scratch here from that kind of that speckled section down to the H of the spiral rush. and taking a look at some more kind of zoomed in sections. So yeah, this is what, and then Judd, I think, said that they tried cleaning this off, kind of this like black gunk, but it looks like it's going to be stuck. And I've said it before, and it sounds like he has taken the advice to heart. Sometimes if you can't get something off, it's just better just to accept it, because if the harder you kind of press into it and you're really trying to get something off, you might damage the card even more. So you got to learn how to kind of call it quits and just kind of accept that it is what it is. It's on there and there's nothing else you can do about it. So it looks like they listened there. So additionally, so I think this looks like another shot of this kind of this speckled area on the top right corner of your screen now. And we do have a little bit of dimpling there to the right of the H. Once I'm done with this juice, I'll explain it. I'm just kind of going over this card real quick. So again, if you guys are chatting, I am not ignoring you. I just really want to make sure, because this is a pretty high up there card. So I just want to make sure I'm doing my due diligence here. So we do either have like a dent or a speckle there by the upper claw in this lighting. And again, this is a good example if you guys do just submit your cards. Having these multiple angles on more of these kind of damaged, well, not, I shouldn't say damaged, but older cards makes it a little bit easier for us to have a better, more accurate assessment. So we do have a little bit of a scratch maybe here by the star. And I'll kind of leave my magnifier just so you guys can see it a little bit better. So the bottom half of the circle, there is some scratching there by the star. But again, this is a very interesting pattern that's obviously very predominant on the Rayquaza itself. So as we look here, very, very well zoomed in, kind of highlighting some of those issues that we saw before. So as we look at the back, because it looked like the back was relatively clean, because I only saw one based off and I'm just going to confirm real quick based on your submission, Judd. Yeah, they only had the one picture of the back, and honestly, the back looks pretty good. Not a lot of issues on the corners. I mean, there's like stuff that you'd probably even see if I didn't show that this is Rayquaza, with the exception of this, in that right side. You know, a little bit of whitening there, a little bit there, but I mean, that would be, if I just saw this, it'd be, you know, you're already looking at like a 9, right? J-Poo and thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate that. So yeah, honestly, most of the issues are going to be on this front. So again, chat, for those of you who have been here through the entire Rayquaza review, now is your chance to vote on what you think this Rayquaza Gold Star. This is the first time we've seen this after 38 episodes. It's the first Rayquaza Gold Star we've seen. So if you guys want to vote on what you think this Rayquaza Gold Star would get as a PSA grade, type !grade followed by the number. Again, !grade followed by the number to enter on what you think this card would get as a PSA grade. So here is the front, and here's some more angles. So this was kind of just, again, is really important. So I'm going to do very quick highlights. So this was one of the major areas of concern. So we have kind of like some speckling or almost like removed from the tail. We have a scratch here. And we can kind of see some mild scratches on the hollow by the jaw, by the, again, you can kind of see because it's not in direct light, some of that speckling by the tail again. Let's see. And this, again, another angle here, kind of in the top right-hand corner tucked in. So yeah, so again, !grade followed by the number you think this card would get as a PSA grade, to vote whether you're watching me on YouTube or TikTok, to weigh in on what you think this card would get. But again, a very, very important card to give our best assessment for. So while you guys are voting, I'm just going to catch up with chat because I know a lot of people were trying to talk here. Does this one have my cork in it, or is it the next one? I'm not too sure, Ben. The Korokoro? I'm not too sure. I have to look. Do you have any advice on where to buy Paradise Dragona booster boxes online? I honestly don't know. I mean, honestly, anytime I buy cards, I just do like larger US like retailers, but I mean, people sell stuff all the time. So TikTok shop maybe, or but I use like blowout cards or Dave and Adams or collector cash. Those are like the ones that I always use, but I rarely buy sealed product anymore, to be honest. And yeah, Juice, once this Rayquaza is done, I'll definitely let you guys know how to submit your cards for free. I appreciate your patience. But again, this is a pretty important card. So once this card is done being reviewed, I'll go over exactly how to submit your cards for free in the Discord. So just hold tight. So again, I'm going to wrap it up here in about 30 seconds. So again, wrap up the grade, rather, not the stream. So if you want to vote, again, type in !grade followed by the number. And I'll be closing that in about 30 seconds, the poll. When you get to mine, I plan to send them to Beckett. Nice. All right. So chat, you guys are thinking. Because this was a pretty big one, so it's taking a little bit here. So chat, you guys are thinking a PSA 6. So chat is thinking PSA 6. All right, so let me save that real quick. So what do I think this Rayquaza Gold Star would get? So centering is, I think, within the confines of a 10, so that in terms of the front. The only thing that I saw before was some dirt that was confirmed to not be able to get removed, so that might be more stuck on than it appears to be on picture. So we do have to consider that, taking some points away from the surface. My biggest focus from looking at all the pictures is going to be that section of the tail right there. So a lot of, you know, that black of the tail is removed, kind of showing that hollow underneath. And this is a really good example on what exactly what I'm talking about from this perspective. Additionally, we have some mild scratching on the surface there. And as we look at some other shots, so this is another angle of this tail here, so it kind of shimmers off, which again leads me to believe that it's the hollow underneath the actual tail. So also this image, you can kind of see the scratch under the lower jaw, but the rest of the hollow from these pictures I've seen looks pretty decent. I don't see anything major sticking out. And again, another angle of that hollow in that top right, based off of the lighting. And you can kind of see, additionally, you have a little bit of a small dent to the right of that H. And again, more of that focus there. And another kind of zoomed in shot. And then the back, surprisingly, was really good. So very well centered, like only 1-2 white dots on the top left and the bottom left corner, and very mild whitening on that right side. So my big thing really, and it kind of is pretty obvious, I've talked about it numerous times, is this tail, right? So the question is, you know, would I consider this section light play or moderately play at the end of the day, just to kind of simplify things, right? So we not only do we have the tail to worry about, but we also have this scratch on the front, as well as this potential little indent right where my mouse is. So I would say I would most likely consider this in the moderately played category, because the back is, it's weird, because normally I'll say the front is kind of saving cards, but I think in this case, the back is really kind of pulling its weight. So I believe if you were to try to get this Rayquaza Gold Star graded in the current condition, I would probably say you're leaning more towards a 5 more so than a 6. But again, if there's anything wrong with, like, if it's waved or anything like that by the surface, it might go down a little bit more. But again, we can only see the picture in so many dimensions that ultimately it might go down, because if there is any waves or anything like that in the card. But I'd say, again, for a Gold Star, so this is when people ask me, you know, would I submit this card? Should I not submit this card? I said it before. I think Gold Stars specifically, I think you should submit regardless on what you think it would get, because they're so popular and so highly sought after that I think just encapsulating them in of itself is a good idea to do, in my opinion. So I would personally submit that. If I own this Rayquaza Gold Star, even though I would think it would get a 5, I would still submit it. But yeah. So yeah, that was a crazy card. Again, the first Rayquaza Gold Star. This is episode 38, first one ever reviewed. So thank you, Judd, for that. What do I think it would be in BGS? I honestly don't know. Because again, the only reason why I stick and kind of do assessments in PSA is because I've just only submitted through PSA. And so I base my reviews on, you know, because when I think a card is going to get a 7 and it comes back as a 7, I record that, right? So versus if I think a card is going to get a 7 and it comes back a 5, I try to analyze and kind of keep a batting average of grading, so to speak. So I can't really speak on BGS because A, I've never submitted through them, and B, I just don't have enough data to support one way or the other, if that makes sense. So yeah, for sure. So we'll see. I appreciate that, Rye. So yeah, so anyone that was been patiently waiting, I appreciate it. So if you guys want your cards reviewed for free, like I just did for this Rayquaza Gold Star, is if you go to my link in my bio, you'll go to my link tree, and all you have to do then is just click or tap the Discord icon. It'll send you to the Discord to submit your cards in the grade review channel. Again, it's completely for free, but Judd took advantage. If you subscribe on the Discord server, you get priority grade review along with some other perks. But because it is first come first serve for non-subscribers, but again, completely free. It always will be. And you can submit as many as you want, but it is first come first serve, and it's limited to 5 cards per person per stream, regardless of if you're a sub or not. Let's see. 80, thanks so much for the follow. Rye, thanks so much for the follow. Do I do this content often? I do, Rye. Yep, traditionally I stream every Wednesday. However, I had a card show that I'm making. I actually just uploaded all the videos to my computer to edit. I just got done with a card show, which last Wednesday I had to postpone because I had to prepare for it, because I had to inventory cards and it was this big thing. But normally I'll do this every Wednesday, so I'll be doing this again for episode 39 on the 23rd of October. Hey, Danger, how's it going? All right, so next up. So I think that was your only one, Judd, from what I could tell. So thank you so much for resubmitting that in the general grade review. And thank you for reminding me, because I would have felt super bad if you didn't. You're like, oh, by the way, I subbed and didn't get my card review. And I was like, all right. So I appreciate you reminding me. All right, so let me zoom up here. So next up should be, because I just finished Caterpillars, I just finished Judd's, I finished Joran's. So next is Aging. Probably butchering that name, but let me just close that, and that. Get those in. We're on dial-up internet, so it's loading. I don't know why it's taking so long. I might have to just give me 1 second. I might have to restart my browser. Did a lot of gold stars. A crazy amount of gold stars. Let me just because I had like 50, I literally had 50 tabs open, so I might just have to close this out real quick. Just give me 1 second. I'll just go to just chatting. If you guys have never seen before, hello. Just gonna restart this real quick. There we go. There we go. Back. I'm doing great, JM. How are you? Danger, thanks so much for following. I'm as you guys can see, I just came back from my card show, so this is all my stuff that I still haven't even unpacked yet, but we're out here having to make up for grade review on Wednesday. So, and this finally loaded. There we go. I think you had some more. We just finished a Rayquaza Gold Star, Jam. It was crazy. We assessed it as, I think chat assessed it as a 6, and then I assessed it as a 5. But yeah, crazy. And we have even more. So let me just load these up real quick. Boom. Let's see if those load anytime soon. All right, so we first got the Jolteon Gold Star from the World Champion. Yeah, World Championship 2008. So let us take a look. Let me just make sure everything is zoomed in. Beautiful. Okay. So definitely a little bit thick on this right side. So this side here. Compared to the left. There you go, Jam. Apparently everyone has Rayquaza Gold Stars. Yeah, why not? We have a little bit of damage here, there, and there. Let's see. Possibly some issues there above the T and Jolteon, as well as some there. Aside from that, I don't see anything else. But yeah, just a little bit off center more than anything. And yeah, nothing really to speak on that. And then let me just zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let's see. If I submit it, I'm not here. When I get to it, the grades get posted. Yeah, so Juice, so I multi-stream, so I stream both on YouTube and TikTok. So once the stream is done, the VOD instantly gets uploaded to my YouTube. So you'll never miss it. I have a #1 trophy Pikachu card. Can you review it? If it's legit, yeah. Yeah, why not? But let's see. Let's see. So some of the issues on that front that I was kind of highlighting here is carrying over to the back, like right here. So there is some whitening there. Matt, thanks so much for the follow. And a little off center from the left to the right, but not. I think it's still within the confines there. A little bit of surface issue there on the top left. As well as some there on the bottom middle. But all in all, the corners actually look pretty decent. And so just to kind of keep things moving along, for this one specifically, I'll just kind of do my grade. So let me just save this real quick and then turn that off because I want to look at this. So it almost looks like above that A, it almost looks like a little bit of dirt or debris that may or may not be able to get removed, but that will impact the surface as well. So again, if you guys are new here, normally how I kind of like to kind of equate condition, like raw condition, to grade is if I think it's going to be like moderately played, I would say it's a 5, and then lightly played, I would say a 6. That's kind of my like general rule of thumb. So it really kind of boils down to, do I think this card is in light play condition or moderately played condition? So some of the signs that I'm seeing just in general is more in this top section. So we see some, again, I'll kind of pop up my tool here. So everything I marked in green is really what I'm seeing on the front. And nothing really notable here, with the exception, again, of that A, like whatever that is. I don't know if that's a piece of dirt stuck onto it or what. But the back overall looks pretty good. Some whitening on the back, kind of transferred from the front here. But I think the big thing is I'm not seeing any major creases or surface wear or anything like that on the back, with the exception of this top left-hand corner. Dom, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate that. But the corners look great. Centered pretty well, I think, within the confines of it being still like a subgrade of 10. Just found out PSA to 60/40 on the front, 70. Yeah, Kali Bennett, if I'm saying that correctly. I think for Pokemon, in my personal opinion, again, this is totally anecdotal, so don't take it to like as the truth. But I think for Pokemon, I don't think that that ratio, I don't think really translates well to Pokemon. I kind of stick with 55/45 because I have done like 60/40 submissions and it didn't come back as a 10. but I think with like just the amount of issues here on the front, man, I don't know. It's really like kind of like 6 to 5, right? Like 6 on a great day, 5 on like a normal day. Because like I think the big thing is like, I think normally like if and I'm gonna clear these just to kind of make my point. I think if like this wasn't here, like on the surface wear or this, or this here or here, like I would say light play because of the issues up here and on the front and all that stuff. But I think because we're seeing more surface, like actual ink or that surface being removed from the from the front of the card, if I had this in my possession, I would list it as moderately played, in my opinion. But you know, 6, I would say definitely 6 or a 5. I think, you know, there's arguments for both. But I think for me, when I'm normally like, a good rule of thumb is if I'm kind of like from a business perspective, if I'm kind of like on the fence on either one, I kind of tend to lean more towards the conservative side, because, you know, you don't want to make everyone mad. So I'd probably say a 5 in my opinion for that Jolteon. All right, so next up is the Rockets Mewtwo. So let's take a look. I think one of the first vintage like gym challenge, I think this is the first card that had to have its image box reduced because it had so much text and so many different attacks. Which I think is interesting. But yeah, this card, I agree with you, Danger, is very clean. Corners aren't that great, yeah. Well, like I said, Kale, if you haven't submitted your cards in the grade review, definitely do so. Hey, I've seen that Jolteon in a PSA 10 for $950. The World Championship one. I personally haven't owned one or had one come through through my shop, so I don't know on the top of my head what it'd be. But yeah, so anyone either on YouTube or TikTok watching me tonight, I should have a link tree in my description or bio, and it will send you to there. All you have to do is just tap the Discord icon, or click the Discord icon, and it'll send you to my Discord to submit your cards in the grade review channel. Do I have a Dark Dragonite? I have 4 now. I bought a ton yesterday during my last show. Wasn't I after the Jolteon? Let's see, because I finished. Are you because I'm sorry, Rips, are you Joran on? Because I did Joe, Caterpillar, Joran, and now I'm on Aging. And next I have, unless I missed yours, but I don't think I did. Let me look, because I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. Game Freak. Okay, yeah, so you're next. You're next. Okay. So Rockets Mewtwo. Centered beautifully. Corners look great. Hollow. Thank you, N4, for clarifying. I appreciate that. Appreciate the assistance. No hollow scratching from what I can tell. Let's see. So from this angle, let's see. I mean, the only thing I could probably see, maybe here, maybe there in the top right corner. Can you fix stock defects in SIR cards? Always have chip type dents? Not really, Aaron, especially for modern. I managed to find an XY Breakpoint booster pack. Lucky man. I heard a lot of people at the show yesterday got some really cool black and white vintage from PokeRev packs, which I thought was interesting. They're trying to sell them to me, and there's not enough comps for me to make a confident purchase. But I do have a little bit of a blemish there. Either it looks like dirt more than anything. You can probably get rid of. But the surface of this hollow, I still can't get over. It looks really clean. But the back is a different story, chat. What do we call this, chat? 3, 2, 1. We call this a great binder card. This will never see the light of day outside of the binder or out of the sleeve that doesn't have a transparent back, because the front, absolutely gorgeous. The back, however, is not good. So we definitely have some issues going on here, right? So we have all these corners. I mean, you kind of see it, but I'm just going to take the magnifier here. So we got these corner issues, the sides, right, bottom left, the bottom edge, bottom right, this right edge. So pretty much all 4 corners and all 4 edges have some pretty significant issues, for sure. So I think, again, I'm just gonna keep things moving here. So I think with this Rockets Mewtwo specifically, the front is absolutely great. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Pokemon lover. Oscar, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. What year is with the back Pocket Monsters? What is that, like 1996 to 1998 maybe, or 1998 only? I honestly can't remember. I'm recalling it from memory. Yeah, the front looks gorgeous. The front, if I just had to like review the front, I would say it would be a 9 alone on the front. But again, we have to look at the back as well. And so with this amount of whitening on the edge, if I had this card specifically in my booth, just because the back, like you can really tell, right? Like the eye appeal of this is pretty crazy. Because the amount of whitening, and we have a lot of like dirt and blemish marks here, right above the Pokeball. Where was the other one? A little bit right. No, that's just dirt on my monitor. We have some right there in the top right. So I'd probably say that this you're leaning more towards like a soft like MP or moderately played, or I'm sorry, a soft LP, light play, hard, moderately play. But I'd lean more towards the moderately played side for the back, because that back is pretty rough with like the amount of significant whitening. So I'd probably say that this Mewtwo would probably get a 5 if graded. The front is great, but the back is really where it's going to kind of take you, if you're to, in my opinion, kind of take you back. But it is what it is. Cries in chat. But maybe I'm being strict, but that looks heavy play. Interesting. Yeah, I'd say the thing that's kind of keeping me away from the heavy play is the front looks great. The front, really, there's nothing wrong to it. It's really just the back with the whitened corners. There's no creases, there's no bends, there's no divots, there's no anything like that would kind of bring it down in heavy play, in my opinion. But again, everyone that's kind of the nice thing about grading versus raw, is like grader, you're kind of like, you kind of pay them to kind of take some of that guesswork out, but some people are not that good at it. So I don't know. All right, next up, this is the 3rd gold star tonight, chat. The 3rd gold star is the Raikou Gold Star. So let us take a look. The front, so far so good. Looks great. Corners look good. Edges look good. And then from both angles, you know, let's just even take the magnifier, the surface of this card. I'm really not seeing any scratches, nothing major sticking out to me. Maybe like a little bit of something here on that right side, but that's, I don't know. Dakota, yeah. Is a hollow Dark Dragonite a good trade for a shiny Gyarados EX? A shiny Gyarados EX? I honestly don't even know from memory what a shiny Gyarados EX looks like, to be honest. But if they're both English danger, my recommendation always is just to take a look at TCG Player. It's like the quickest way, easiest way at the condition that you think it is. So if your Dark Dragonite and your mint is like $100 or something like that, and then compare it to the shiny Gyarados, and the shiny Gyarados is 200, then I would take that immediately. But that's normally what I would do. Rusty, thanks so much for the follow. So from this angle, we got a little bit of debris there underneath the O and 4. Let's see. Anything else from this angle? I don't think so. And the back again. The back again, chat. So it's these damn backs. So a little bit of folding there on that top left. This left edge looking a little bit of some whitening there. And we do have some whitening there on the bottom edge as well. So again, I'd say probably not as bad as the previous card, because this side I think is more of lighting than anything. I'm hoping it's more lighting than anything based off of how it looks. But the bottom is a little bit, the bottom and the top has some significant whitening. That the top right corner, the bottom right corner, but I can't really tell on this side. But the front looks so good, but it's not nearly as bad as the Rockets Mewtwo. That's what it was. So yeah, let me just open up this one while I prepare for the next one. Let me open this up for chat. So if you guys want to vote on what you think this Raikou Gold Star would get, type in !grade followed by the number. That's !grade followed by the number on what you think this Raikou Gold Star would get. So there is the front. There's really not much to say other than some dirt or some blemishes on like near the 4 or on this right edge. A little bit of some dirt there, but not too bad. But it's really just the back that's going to be most of the attention. So again, !grade followed by the number if you want to vote on what you think this card would get. So while you guys are doing that, I'm going to catch up with chat real quick. Let's see. The only gold star I have is a Suicune. I used to have a Suicune back in the day. Not anymore though. I really like that one though. I really like how that one looks. Is the one from Scarlet and Violet. This one from Scarlet and Violet. The Gyarados? I'd have to take a look. I honestly don't. Like, I'm sorry, I really don't know. Nope, if you're either on YouTube or TikTok, you can, it all combines it together. So whether you're watching me on TikTok or YouTube, !grade followed by the number will still work. That's why I have to do the !grade, because it's like a chat bot that reads it both. Do you still do grade reviews on Wednesday? I do, Oza. Yep, the only reason why I had to postpone so this stream that you're watching tonight should have been Wednesday, but since I had the card show yesterday, I had more prep work I had to do on that Wednesday than anticipated, so I had to cancel it, or I had to postpone it until today. So yeah, I normally do them on Wednesdays. It's the very rare instance where I had to move it or postpone it. I posted 2 cards. My Zard is in worse condition than I thought. Yeah. Well, hopefully, hopefully the review will help kind of shed some light on what we're thinking it could be. Okay, let me close the poll here. Let's take a look. It is very late, Betty. I am exhausted. I normally am like in bed at like starting to get ready for bed at this point, but I told the people I gotta get it done. All right, so the chat grade is a 5. So chat grade is a 5, and that is not what I need to do. Put that over there. Save that. Boom, boom, boom. Bob's your uncle. All right. Thanks, Calbrate. I appreciate that. Yeah, the front of this card is absolutely gorgeous. Corners are good. The only thing I saw on the front from this perspective is that next to the 4, but I think that can be just removed. And the hollow looks really good. I'm really not seeing a lot of issues there across the hollow pattern. Now, if we flip it over, this is where I'm kind of seeing, this is where it kind of makes or breaks a 6 or a 5 for me personally. Right, so we have a lot of whitening on all 4 corners. I think there's probably more whitening here, but a little bit of the lighting is kind of obscuring it a little bit, but I think it's still enough for me to make a judgment call. And I think because of the amount of whitening on all 4 corners and all 4 edges, additionally with some dirt marks on the surface of the back, So there's some here, a little bit of staining there from my perspective on the monitor, as well as above the Pokeball there. But the whitening on the bottom, I would probably agree with you guys that I'm leaning more towards a 5 than a 6 because of that. Pretty much similar to the Rockets Mewtwo on the back, because again, the back is also reviewed. There is someone that that thought that the back was not reviewed, so I thought that was interesting. Yes, the next one, so episode 39 will be on Wednesday, Oza. But yeah, the front looks great, but unfortunate. Let's see, front looks pristine. It's next, yep, knew it. 39. Yeah, this is 38 and 39. I've done this 39 times, chat. And I'm glad you guys don't get bored of it. Like I said, I definitely appreciate you guys, you know, showing up and supporting the grade review. I love doing it for you guys, and it's always good to see that you guys appreciate me doing it. So thank you. All right. So next up is Game Freak on Discord. So let me load up theirs real quick. And honestly, guys, I will say, while I'm loading up this Dark Charizard and Dark Blastoise, I will say a little bit of a sidebar. Team Rocket stuff has been seeing some movement in the uptick of price. I had to resticker everything Team Rocket, Gym Hero, and Gym Challenge for the show yesterday. Because I priced everything throughout last week, which is why I didn't do this on Wednesday. So this stuff is going up because of the announcement of Team Rocket being reprinted, or not reprinted, but another version of Team Rocket. I just have to ask, am I okay? Yeah, I'm fine, Pokemon lover. I'm just, normally I go to bed around this time, but I gotta stay up. Awesome. I appreciate that, Samir. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I just like doing, you know, I like giving my 2 cents. There's enough people that try to like kind of lead others a different path, and I just try to give, you know, as much of my opinion and much of my observations as I possibly can, so at the end of the day my community can make the best decisions as they possibly can. So yeah, so there's Gym Hero and Gym Challenge, Pokemon lover. So what, Gym Hero was the first 4 trainers, so that was Brock, Misty, Surge, and Erica, and then Gym Challenge was the rest for Gen 1, so that was Koga, Sabrina, Blaine, and Giovanni. I need all the Marnie and N cards. Well, I do have some of those, Betty. I picked up a ton. I knew you'd like. I'm telling you. I cannot wait for the new set. I'm so excited. I'm so stoked. They're either gonna be great sets, or Pokemon's just gonna make it flop. I have no idea. Yep, I got Mimikyus, I got Marnies, I got Ns. I know what the people want. Is the Legendary Collection Reverse Holo welcome? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it looks like I'm getting flashbanged, but yeah, they're definitely welcome for sure. Yep. My other first Dark Charizard in a similar condition came back as a BGS 9.5. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I got rid of my PSA 8 Dark Charizard during the show yesterday in exchange for that Skyridge, among some other like PSA 6 Zard, and another one from base set, in exchange for that Skyridge booster pack, that PSA 10 one. All right, Dark Charizard, first edition. Let's take a look. Centering looks good. Edges look good. Corners look good. I think the only thing that I see, more so on this one is very faint scratches here underneath the Charmeleon. So we do have some scratches there, but aside from that, the card is in pretty great shape. No major issues there. And then on the back, so we do see some surface scratches here. So I'm going to highlight those real quick in the green pen. And so we got one zoop, and we got some whitening there on the right side, but not too bad. Centered very well. A little bit of whitening there in the top right corner. This angle looks good. Maybe this little scratch here by the K. And then what else? Let's see. Those are on the sleeve, unfortunately. Looks like it's outside of the sleeve. It looks like the sleeve's underneath. But that looks good. That looks good with the exception of this little scratch there. But I mean, this car looks great, man. I would say with like, so if I kind of do like a quick, you know, look at the front and look at the back, you know, I think you have a pretty strong 8 in my opinion, because you got some very mild scratching here on the left side, like in the hollow foil, and some scratching on the surface here, like 1 and 2, and then some of this white. It's more of the whitening on that right side. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then a little bit on there 4. So I'd say it's still an 8, which is still really good, in my opinion. The dogs are out. The dogs are barking. Oh, you got the I just noticed that you got the toolbox liner. Oh yeah, rips for sure. Anytime. That's why I say I think my good rule of thumb for vintage, if it's 8 or above, I send it for sure, with the exception of gold stars and some other like shinings. I'll pretty much submit those. But yeah, 8 or above. J-Bod, thanks so much for the follow. Thank you, N4, for answering Werewolf's question. Appreciate you. All right, so Dark Blastoise. MN, thanks so much for sharing the live. Appreciate you guys. Staying up with me on a Sunday. It was way past my bedtime, but we're out here. Let's see. Give me 1 second, A-Rat. You might have to re-ask me that. I just want to make sure I get this Dark Blastoise done before I answer your question. So just hold tight. I'm not ignoring you. Just 1 second. So centering of this Dark Blastoise looks great. The hollow looks fantastic. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, hollow looks great. This side looks good. The only thing that I see, and it'll be interesting to see what it looks like actually on the back, is I don't know if this is like a dent. And I'll kind of even like draw what I'm hopefully seeing. Or not hopefully seeing, but it almost looks like a little bit of a dent here. So if I kind of save this and do, so you guys see what I'm kind of highlighting, and if I do a quick kind of before and after, that's what I'm seeing. I don't know if you guys see that, but it almost looks like if it was like in a those, what the hell are they called? Those like magnetic cases almost, because it kind of looks like it. I'm wondering if it's on the other side. I can't really tell like which would be kind of like in this section, but can I backspace or no? All right, well, there we go. The hollow still looks pretty good. I mean, we do have some like a scratch here. Kind of seeing my little magnifier a little bit there in that empty space, but not too bad. Yep, and that kind of translates over here. So what I was kind of talking about on that one is translating right there. But the corners and centering look really good aside from that. But yeah, I would say, you know, for like an impact like this, right? But I think the card looks extremely clean aside from that little like bow. But man, it's kind of like, again, it really just depends on whether or not I would consider that near mint or light play for this specifically. But I'm trying to think. The centering looks great. The edges look great. It's a small dent. I got it out with my acrylic. Nice. So it must have been bulged then, right? So if you're saying that this was bulged, then yeah. So my guess, if I were to kind of talk through Rip's, so if you were able to get that out, my guess is if you either A, had a humidor and kind of put it with some humidity and kind of use the acrylic plates to use the to front to back was bulged. Gotcha. Yeah. So most likely you used a humidor to then make the card humid enough to where it can kind of be a little bit more malleable is the best way I can explain it. And so my guess is what he did was he took 2 acrylic plates and used, so you can kind of see you either did or you didn't, I'm not too sure depending on how severe it was. So this like whole black mat behind is like, I use like toolbox liner. It looks the same. So basically it goes acrylic plate, toolbox liner, card, toolbox liner, acrylic plate, and then you press them together with clamps and you leave it for like a day, and then you just let it sit. You just kind of do it that way, and then stuff like that can get pressed out like what Rips is saying. So if you were able, so I'll just say it for this way, so if you were able to get that out, meaning that is no longer a factor, I would probably say that this would probably get an 8 or a 9. I'd probably lean more towards an 8 only because you have some scratches here as well as some stuff here on this right side if you were able to get that out. But if you were not, and that's kind of what's nice about using those humidor techniques on something like this, is that with issues like this specifically, that dramatically reduces the possible grade to the point where that probably even knock it down to an LP or a PSA 6 in some cases. Because those types of bends or issues with surface have such a significant impact on a card. Like I just sold a Charizard from Plasma Blast that had a little bit of a dent into it, and I still marked it LP because I knew it would come back as a PSA 6 because of something very similar to that. So yeah, I'd probably, if you got that out, I'd probably say an 8. So next up is Banana Man. Banana Man with the gold Charizard VMAX. Let's take a look. Yes, Werewolf, sorry. So if you guys want to, and let me just do this real quick. So if you guys go to my profile, I have a link in my description. We'll go to my link tree. So all you got to do is once you're here, just click or tap my Discord icon and it will send you right to the Discord channel. It will then get you through an onboarding process to then go to the grade review channel. And again, it's completely free. It is first come, first serve. You can submit as many cards as you want. However, I only review 5 cards per person per stream. Unless you want your cards expedited, the Discord server does offer a subscription that gives you expedited grading, and then where we'll review your cards for free. And that's how you do it. But yes, so Pokédoc Rips, I can confirm what he's talking about is true. It's similar techniques that I use as well. So what he is saying is valid. Gib, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that very much. All right, next up we have the Charizard VMAX. So let's see if this would get the 10 or bust. With some Yu-Gi-Oh in the background, some elemental heroes. So centering looks good because again, really the only thing that we can measure for centering is like this like white section, and it looks very well centered. Corners look good, and as we flip it over, same thing. Corners look great. A little bit off center from the right to the left. However, you might be able to get away with it. And the only thing that I can see is you really want to make sure that you can get rid of that little white speck, even though it looks so minuscule and you think, you know, PSA will get rid of it or whatever. They won't. If it stays there, that will factor into the grade of the surface. Additionally, you also have some stuff like that similar on the bottom. So if you get rid of these, you have a potential at a 10. So any of that little, like those white specks, just use a microfiber cloth, wipe that off, and you should be good to go. So I have a super minty shiny Gyarados that I clean super well, but does it have? But it does have some scratches. So Caleb, if you're trying to get it graded, unfortunately, there's not much you can do. If you're trying to grade within the guidelines of PSA. And so for me specifically, I can only speak from my personal experience and my personal beliefs. I think that using card wax or anything that you need to use to add onto the card to fill in scratches or anything like that, I believe, and PSA also agrees, that I would be considered alterations. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you might get caught and it might return back to you ungraded and might be marked as altered. So just keep that in mind. The fact that you know heroes. Yeah, oh yeah, I love Yu-Gi-Oh, dude. I play a progression series with my friends with Korean cards. We just got done with Chainburn era, and Des Wombat was my boy. I was able to win my week by just main decking Des Wombat and making sure that people didn't burn me to death. Thoughts on the white and on the left edge? I mean, there's really on this stuff, like this stuff you can probably get rid of. I think it's just like white card stock in the middle. But I think you just wipe that off if that's what you're talking about, Break Room. All right, Banana Man is done. Next up, guys, I'm telling you, this stream has been nothing but gold stars, and I am not complaining in the slightest. And I think if I remember, N4 asked, so like what we say if it's a 10 or bust. Now we're going 1 or bust, meaning is it going to be a PSA 1 or is it not getting graded at all? Oh, Oza, this thing is cooked, fried, well done. Caleb, thanks so much for the follow. That one guy, welcome back, man. Nice to see you again. All right, so we are basically looking at a 1 or bust, chat. This is the ultimate playground card. All right, so obviously there is a ton wrong with this card, right? It's kind of fitting that it's a Vaporeon because it literally looks like it had some degree of water damage with all these like little mini ripples across the card. Let's see, there's like ripples all over it. Edges are pretty rough. That one guy I think in grade 10. Honestly, I think it's a grade 11. The first PSA 11 I've ever seen. So let's take a look at the back. I'm afraid to look at the back. Holy, this is rough. I've graded worse gold stars. What's your excuse me? What's your name on Discord? That one guy, because I added everyone that was for today. So yeah, really the question becomes, chat, is it not as bad for it to get a PSA 2 or is it a PSA 1? Yes, I did yours towards the beginning. And if you were to ask me what I gave it, I honestly can't remember cards I did like a turn ago. I legit can't remember. But yes, I did review some of yours today and the beginning of stream. Let's see. Oh, excuse me, chat. Yeah, I'm thinking like with how it looks. So really, like, so for context, for those of you who are wondering, like, you know, when does a card become not eligible to get graded? Like, the big question I always ask myself, because I personally don't like grade PSA 1 cards, but it really boils down to, does it still look like a card, right? On YouTube, you can find it. So, oh man, sorry guys, I'm like way past my bedtime, but we're pushing through. So really what it boils down to is, does it still look like a card? And it still does look like a card. But the question is, does it look damaged? And yeah, it looks damaged, all right. So then the question becomes, as we're kind of filtering down here, the question becomes, is it a PSA 2 or a PSA 1? And I personally believe that this is probably, because I think from, what was it, this angle? I think your saving grace from what it looks like is that this looks like a bend of some sort. I could be wrong, but that looks like a bend. If it is, I think you should be on. Oh, excuse me. I think you should be on your way for a possible PSA 1 or 2. I want to, for your sake, I want to believe it's a PSA 1. For your sake, I want to think it's a PSA 1. So bad it's coming back for alterations, right? That's too funny. But yeah, if I were me, if you're trying to hunt for the PSA 1, that's your guy for sure. That's so funny. All right, next up. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm yawning, chat. I normally go to bed like half an hour ago. I'm an old man. All right, next up, it's actually the first time we've seen this on, like, we're getting such a cool wide range of stuff. And this one's really sick from Left Hand. For those of you who don't know, this card is legit. And this is a pretty sought after error for Hitmonlee specifically, like weirdly enough, Hitmonlee for Fossil, and that is the ink stain error. And so the ink stain error, I think it's pretty obvious that when this card was printed, it had this huge ink stain across a lot of the printings of the Hitmonlee. Additionally, this also applied to Haunter. So the Hollow Haunter and the Hollow Hitmonlee, you see this what's called the ink stain error. So these are very sought after by error collectors for sure. So it's really cool that we actually get to see one during a grade review. That's all good. I kind of threw everyone off for a loop, that one guy, to be honest. So I don't it's all good. Because again, I was supposed to do this on Wednesday, but since I had my card show yesterday, my inventory, it took way longer than I anticipated. So I had to postpone it until today. But like I said, the VOD will be up. The moment the stream ends, the VOD will be up on YouTube. So you can go back and watch the beginning. All right, so the ink error Hitmonlee, super cool card. I'm a big fan of errors, so what is this? This is a grade review, MJ. I do a free grade review normally every Wednesday, but I had to postpone last week's till today. This is actually episode 38, so we've done this 38 other times. Werewolf, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that. It was in New York, Oza. Yeah, free grade review if you want your cards reviewed on what you think I would assess your cards at as a PSA grade. If you tap the icon or the description, the link in the description. I'm sorry guys, I'm super tired. My words are getting super jumbled. So yeah, go to the link tree. There's a Discord icon. Tap that or click that and it'll send you to the Discord to submit. Do I work for AGS? No, I'm not a robot, MJ. Nice try. I pass all the "Are you a robot?" checks. So I do not work for AGS. Is the ink always this color? For Hitmonlee specifically, yes. For the ink stain, from what I've seen, it's always been this. But yeah, very well centered. Corners look great. The only thing I really see, and I might see it on another angle here, yeah, so you can kind of see these print lines here across the top. So normally when I just for context, just in case if no one if some people do not know, when I talk about print lines, normally if it's very straight and normally horizontal or vertical in nature, is traditionally a print line, because normally like another print line or a scratch is going to be kind of wavy, but this one's right across. So that's probably a print line above the head there. But aside from that, very clean, almost looks pack fresh for sure. But the back is not pack fresh. We do have some, we do have some whitening there on the bottom left and the bottom right. And pretty much all around the card. But that whitening is definitely going to take some points away. And just for context, I think it's the from what you kind of, it might kind of show up almost like inked or whatever, almost like yellowish in nature. That's just how the picture was taken. That's not actually on the Pokeball itself. So just kind of keep that in mind. Just how the picture was taken. We do have some, again, might be another print line on the back because it's very straight across, like I was just saying. But again, this right here is not man-made in the sense like, who was it? Left Hand did not have this on the playground and put a highlighter to it. This is an actual error, so we have to omit this specifically because it is graded as an error. So we'll have to keep that in mind. There is a degree of silvering on the bottom, but again, this card is extremely clean, all things considered. On the front, it looks absolutely amazing, and this is such a cool card to have. But the whitening is really what's kind of taking it back a little bit, but it's not crazy. So I would probably say, you know, with the print line, but the front looking really good, but it's really the whitening on the side. Like you have it pretty much all from this section here. We got boom, boom, boom here, especially in here. You're probably looking at a 7, which I think is still pretty good, all things considered. Because I don't think this whitening enough is going to be like near mint plus, which would be a PSA 8 in my, that's kind of how I translate it. So I would probably say that this Hitmonlee, the ink error, which is the first time we've seen this on we've seen a lot of firsts on this channel tonight, which is crazy. So I'd probably say that this Hitmonlee ink error would get a 7. So let me just do that, and that is the end of that. So let me go over to my just chatting to catch up with you guys. So hello, this is what I look like. That's all my cards back there from my personal from my childhood collection, and this is all the stuff still from the show that I just got done with yesterday that I'm still unpacking from. So let me catch up with you guys before I wrap it up here. Let's see. Do you think there is a pop control in grading? I actually talked about that towards the beginning of stream. It's honestly kind of tough because like when I submit a card, the grades that I get back are still within what I would expect them to be. There's only been one card, and I don't even know where it is right now. It's the Erica's. It was an Erica's Ivysaur. It's like a meme card in the channel. I resubmitted it twice, and it came back as a 3. But it's like that. Like no one's pop controlling like Erica's Ivysaurs. It was like an unlimited copy from Gym Hero. But it's always hard for me to say because I have to look at the card, right? I have to look at the card in person to see what it looked like before people sent it out or submitted it, just to kind of verify. So I know people say it a lot, but it really boils down to how well someone like really looked at the card, both on the front and the back, and really critiqued it with zero bias. You know, I get why people say it, but I would like to see it before people submitted it, kind of thing. That's kind of my opinion. I see why people say that there is pop control, but I am very reluctant to say that it's true or not, because I don't know what how they submitted them, what they looked like before they submitted them, whatever. Is there a way to get rid of whitening? There is, but not in a good way. The only way that you would probably do it in most cases would be altering it, like filling in the whitening. But that would be considered altering, and that's a no-go. At least here. This channel, altering cards is not good. Let's see. Also, where did you guys get your humidifiers? So if you go to my link tree, let me go to, not that one. Here. So if you go to my link tree, so everything, none of this is like sponsored anyway, but if you go to my shop, I go boop. And this is all the stuff that I use. So this is what I had, the Case Elegance Mag Desktop Humidor. That's what I use, and it gives you a direct link. And here's all the other stuff I use too, like the acrylic plates that I talked about, the microfiber cloth, some gloves, the microscope I use for cleaning, all this stuff. It's all there. Because when people ask, it's very easy to refer people to that. So. But yeah, that's probably the best, easiest way. That's where I got mine. Trev, welcome. The tail end of the stream. I appreciate you, brother. Slay Queen. And let me see. What was some actually, while you guys are here, I'll show you one of the, if you guys didn't see it in the Discord or Instagram, I'll show it on stream real quick. Give me 1 second. Because I got this from the show. was so I ended up trading for this PSA 10. It was kind of cool. A PSA 10 Skyridge booster pack. So that was pretty cool. I had someone trade towards some stuff that was sitting in my case for a while, so I thought that was pretty cool to get in. Because I'm a big advocate of having a good wide range of stuff to lure people into my booth. So that was a pretty cool one to have in there. But I had a bunch of other crazy trades, crazy sales from yesterday, so that one was pretty dope. How do you use a humidor? Do you use these streams checking cards every day? Not every day, Melvin. I do this I have this as a side business, but I have a full-time job. I have other obligations. So normally I stream sometimes on Mondays, but every week on Wednesdays I'll do a grade review, and a little bit more extensive too. Like I'll go over like topics that have happened or big events in the Pokemon space. Like we already talked about the GameStop taking in cards. But yeah, normally I stream Mondays and Wednesdays, and then sometimes throughout the week if I have extra time. But again, I just, other obligations. I don't do this full time, so because I can't afford to do it full time. But it's fine. I like doing it. I like doing it as a hobby. I like being able to talk with you guys, chilling. How to use a humidor? I forgot to answer that question. So basically, you use multiple rounds of distilled water, and normally the one that I posted will have like a little reservoir that you put like distilled water into, and you let the humidor, because it's all wood inside, you do multiple iterations of the water basically evaporating into the wood so it better retains the water, and you'll have a gauge. So basically when it hits 70%, your humidor is essentially ready for cards specifically. Yeah, Melvin, and I don't know if you caught what I was talking about, but in my link in my bio, if you go to the link tree here, if you want your cards reviewed for free, because I do a free grade review every Wednesday, so episode 39 is going to be this Wednesday, just click or tap that Discord icon, and then you'll be redirected to the grade review channel to submit your cards for a free grade review. You put your cards in there? Perfect, Melvin. Do I have any singles for sale? I should. I literally got a bunch in from, like I said, I'll probably, if you want to actually tune in tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm not kidding, I have like, here's just to put it in perspective, I had someone trade in 54 or 55 cards in exchange for one of my Moonbryons raw. And I have so many cards I have to process. Like here's one stack. And then here's another stack. And I'm going to be going over all of those probably tomorrow to see if any are worth grading or not during a cleaning stream tomorrow. And that'll probably be at 7 p.m. Eastern would be my guess. But yes. Some of them I will be, but some of them I bought with the intention of having at a show coming up. And then, like I said, I don't know if you saw this, but I had someone trade me this PSA 10 Skyridge booster pack, which I thought was pretty cool. Traded like a PSA 6 Charizard from base set. Traded a PSA 8 Dark Charizard. I think a PSA 10 Flareon from Skyridge. Towards it that's been sitting in my case for like a year, so I got a ton of stuff that I'm gonna be, so that raw stack I'm gonna be going through and basically saying, is it worth grading or worth just not grading and selling raw? So I'll be going over that tomorrow. But yeah, all right guys, well, I am way past my bedtime. I am an old man and I need my sleep. So again, normally I stream on Wednesdays, but I also am going to stream tomorrow to process all the trade-ins that I got during yesterday's show. So I really appreciate all the love and support you guys give me. It really does not go unnoticed. And you guys are the best. We're on the road to 10K followers on TikTok. once we hit 10K, I'm going to be showing off my personal collection and a bunch of other cool stuff. So yeah, I'll definitely stay tuned to the Discord. I'll make an announcement on when I go live, all that fun stuff. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate every single one of you. If you're a first timer like Rye, or frequent flyer like Trev, all of you guys are amazing. I really appreciate all the support, and I will catch you guys